Hey, Mike, I'm so excited to have you back on 286 Sunshine. You're going to be hosting a series of shows. You've got some candidates that you want to talk about. It is election time, and it is time for everybody to know where your candidates stand.
Thank you, Sabrina Watson and 286 Sunshine. This is Mike Cartwright, your host, and we're broadcasting here live, Tampa, Hillsborough County, Florida. And yes, we have 11 supervisor of election candidates from the free state of Florida. And we're going to be introducing each and every one of them to you separately in a show that I'll be hosting and going county by county. First off, we will have I'm going to name these counties, and then we'll talk more later on about each candidate. But these 11 counties are Alachua, Charlotte, Collier, Hillsborough, Lake, Lee, Monroe, Palm Beach, Pinellas, Seminole, and St. Lucie. We have 11 candidates we'll be bringing to you.
What's special about these 11 candidates?
Each one of them is challenging an incumbent because they want to bring back election integrity. They want to have accountability and transparency. Many of these candidates are within the same party as the incumbent, but they think that there's a problem and they want to bring back accountability and transparency. Today, we have a special guest, one of our 11 Florida SOE Patriot candidates running for office in each one of their respective office. Today, our special guest from Pinellas County running for supervisor of election is Mr. Chris Gleason. Thank you for joining us, Chris. Let me introduce you. Chris Gleason, an expert in technology, data, and finance, a serial entrepreneur and Army veteran who created a search engine and a secure communications platform for content creation, has spearheaded election integrity projects in Florida and nationwide after uncovering the largest finance violations in U.S. history. His work has been featured in the Gateway Pundit, Epic Times, Miami Independent, and many more. His website is gleasonforpinellas.com. Welcome, Chris Gleason. Here again is our map of the 11 counties that we're featuring each one of the SOE candidates one at a time. And again, today we have Chris Gleason from Pinellas County. Chris, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your campaign.
Sure. So I've been working here in Florida and nationwide, exposing massive campaign finance violations and money laundering operations tied to Act Blue and the Democrat Party and the Uniparty across America. We had first identified it in Washington State when I was working on a data project for a congressional campaign there. We then identified that this RICO money laundering enterprise was also going on in Oklahoma. And then we expanded our search into Florida. And then from Florida, we went and hit essentially state after state, uncovering this massive network of fraud, identity theft, elder abuse, money laundering tied to Soros, Chinese Communist Party, and European globalists. And it's been kind of crazy. I got involved here in Florida based on some of the things that we had found both here with campaign finance, and that led me into voter rolls and vote by mail fraud, which vote by mail fraud season is kicking off today here in Florida. Today is the day that vote by mail ballots are all being sent out. And we have some really interesting stuff that we recently uncovered here in Pinellas County, in Hillsborough County, in Palm Beach County, in Lee County, and I suspect it's going on everywhere else too. We know, based on what we've seen as previous patterns of fraud, is that the voter rolls are in terrible shape. And that what they do is they will use vote by mail ballots and bad mailing addresses to create a large pool of fraudulent vote by mail ballots by which the election fraud mafia can rig the primary election and rig general elections.
Do you want to show
So
us the Clearwater example?
we can get there and do that.
Whenever you want to get to it, you've got control.
Sure.
You can do that.
Yeah. So one of the things that today, this morning, I woke up to was a hit piece by the Tampa Bay Times calling me an election denier, and I found that quite funny because I had already provided a great deal of evidence and information to the Tampa Bay Times, both to numerous reporters and to their editorial board. I extensively covered all of these election crimes and evidence that we have uncovered here in Florida. One of the interesting things that we uncovered previously were massive numbers of blank ballots. We discovered this all across Florida. We discovered this first in Lee County.
Let's explain to the audience, Chris, what the heck is a blank ballot?
Well, that was what we wanted to know. And so we dug and we tried to find out what a blank ballot was. But unfortunately, the supervisor of elections in Lee County wasn't very forthcoming. So we rolled up our sleeves and we got to work. And what we quickly found was that a blank ballot was a ballot that had not one single voting position on it. And so we asked the question, well, who in their right mind would go out and on election day during early voting or vote by mail or even provisionally and go out and cast a 100% blank ballot?
I want to make sure I understand that 100% blank ballot. And when people go to vote, there's numerous races and campaigns, 10s, 20, sometimes 30 different things to be elected. What are you telling me, blank ballot? How much of these ballots are blank? I don't understand that.
So according to the voting machine manufacturer manual and the United States Election Assistance Commission, and Maria Matthews, the director for the Florida Division of Elections, a blank ballot is a ballot that has not one single mark on it, not one single voting position.
How about Pinellas? Do you have anything directly about Pinellas about that? Would you want to describe that?
We do. We have a lot. Yeah, so we have a lot. So here in Pinellas County, what they did is they altered the election reports to not reflect any blank ballot data whatsoever, which is a problem. Okay. And so I was trying to obtain the number of blank ballots. So I sued the supervisor of elections, Julie Marcus, over this. And so what I did was I did further public records requests. And there was actually a form that they could not redact and that they could not conceal from me. And this form was called the DSDE 40 form. And they were required by law to provide and complete this form. And so this form showed many thousands, over 16,000, I think it was like 16,800 and some blank ballots. And that was what I had alleged in my original complaint, that over the course of two elections, close to 40,000 Pinellas County voters were actually disenfranchised. Okay. So what we've done is we've really fleshed this out nationwide. We have lots of evidence about this. And so I ended up having no choice but to run for supervisor of elections here in Pinellas County, because we clearly weren't going to get discovery. We clearly weren't going to get the truth. And, you know, these judges nationwide, they like to kick cases out for standing. Well, as a candidate for the supervisor of elections, I've got standing now. So this morning, I wake up to an article and they're calling me an election denier and saying that I don't have any of the information. Now, mind you, I provided copies of all of these documents to the Tampa Bay Times. I provided them all to NPR. I provided them all to the AP. I've provided them all on my Substack. And, you know, we have several cases currently in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals tied to blank ballots and the concealing of election records. And so here we are. We are in a fight for our votes. We are in a fight for our ballots. We are in a fight for the Constitution because they have no consent of the governed. And we can show it. Going back 2 years ago, and we go back about the dirty voter rolls. We go back to all of this misfeasance and malfeasance in elections to include a revisit of something really, really troubling. These are public records. This is part of the voter roll. And this information here, I obtained via the Secretary of State's office here. And these individuals here, these are all people who live at a particular address in Clearwater. And what's interesting about this is that there was no delineating apartment number or unit number. So what this means
as you're
is,
describing this, Chris, would you continue to scroll down to show the viewers the volumes of different people that have apparently not had their votes count? Is that correct?
yeah, well, these here are people who received allegedly a vote by mail ballot. And these people here on this list are going to have a vote by mail ballot sent out to them today. However, the problem with that is we don't know that these people are going to actually get their vote by mail ballot because there's no unit number here. And these
How many people live at 551 North Southern Avenue?
Hundreds of people allegedly live here. Well, this is a apartment complex. And this apartment complex is tied to the Church of Scientology. And this is what's called their flag organization. And so all of these individuals allegedly requested a vote by mail ballot. Now, what's particularly interesting is that all of these individuals who requested these vote by mail ballots, they all did it on the same day. A lot of them did it on the same day. Would you keep
scrolling down as we talk so we can just slowly keep scrolling while you're talking? Just keep hitting that scroll button. Yeah. We want the viewers to see. Do you have any idea how many, what this number is?
Hundreds.
Keep going down. We want everybody to see it. Don't stop on one while you're talking. Keep showing the viewers all of these.
And you notice that there's no unit number here. So that means that under Florida law, if a person who is not related to you is in possession of more than 2 vote by mail ballots, it is a felony. That is called ballot harvesting. Now, I want to draw your particular attention to the screen right here, because you can see that the email that they requested, the vote by mail ballot via as part of the record here, it shows the same email address. As you can see here, there's a lot of addresses with
What's flag.org?
That's for the flag organization for the Church of Scientology. So now we're actually getting to a point where we have some unit numbers. Okay. Now there are some unit numbers here that are going to start coming up, but we've got quite a few here, many that there were no unit numbers. So that tells us, right, that they're all using the same email address to request vote by mail ballots, right? And for their voter registration. Are these people really, are they even real? Are they, I mean, we don't know because they're all using the same email address.
So let me make sure that the viewers and I understand that at staff.flag.org is for the Church of Scientology in Pinellas. And you're saying that through that email platform, they are making these requests for vote by mail. They're making vote by mail requests.
It appears that way to me. I mean, when you look at this flag service org, at flag.org, I mean, you have quite a few of these. And these are all,
we're going to keep scrolling through that, Chris,
yes,
so the viewers can see that while you're talking. Just keep using that finger, keep scrolling. We want everybody to see this because the clock is running.
Yeah. So here you go. I mean, we've got a lot, it's going. And so we have significant numbers of this. Massive numbers of this are going on. Yes. Going back October 25th, 2022. And I made a great deal of elector challenges based on this. And there was literally thousands that I had made based on undeliverable mailing addresses, based on a whole wide variety of issues that we are now going to see again in this election. And this is neglect of duty. This is misfeasance. This is real issues related
wait
to
a minute. Is any of this criminal? And do you have any statutes that we can go ahead and look at?
Absolutely, it's criminal. Absolutely. Anything they do outside the official lines of their position can and should be considered criminal.
And we want to show the viewers,
there you go,
because our clock is running, we want to let them know that some of this is criminal, and we're going to show them those statutes. So how about this one, Chris? Florida Statute 838.022. You want to describe that to the viewers?
Yes. So this one here is one, in my opinion, it's very low hanging fruit because this really does encompass a lot of the felonies and frauds that we've seen committed here in Pinellas County and throughout Florida, to include most of the supervisors of elections. So they're claiming, right, to be able to redact information. Really what they're doing is they're concealing the evidence of felonies. And that is official misconduct. And that in and of itself is a felony. So, we have some real issues here. And it appears that they are being woefully blind to a lot of the illegal acts that are going on. And at the end of the day, these aren't frivolous charges. These are serious problems. So we've been uncovering quite a bit here. And, these other candidates all across Florida, they've been uncovering quite a bit too. When you have official misconduct at the highest levels of election administration throughout Florida, are you an election denier, or are you just a concerned citizen wanting to have the truth? And I would say that none of us really wanted to sign up for this being slandered and being drugged through the mud, publicly by the propaganda media, like the Tampa Bay Times. I mean, I'm prepared to do it. I'm prepared to go through this because I care about my country. I care about my elections. And
well, we know you care a lot, and you've been doing a great job, and we appreciate it. We know, and we want to make sure the audience know that you've been doing FOIA, public records requests, FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. I have an image here of one that you shared with me before about your FOIA request. Would you tell us what this is, please?
Oh, yes. That would be the transport of ballots. And this was provided to me by Julie Marcus's office. And so I don't know. I mean, I've obtained these documents from other counties all across Florida, and they didn't read like this. They didn't read like the Kennedy assassination documents, because
What
here,
we're looking at right here is one page and it is completely redacted. There is not one paragraph, one sentence, one word of which has not been redacted. Why are these documents so heavily redacted? Aren't these public records? Don't these people serve we the people? Why is it that we can't have accountability and transparency in these public records requests?
well, I would say that they're committing 838.022, because what what are we going to see underneath this document? I'm willing to bet that there's going to be something really interesting underneath here. So
Well, this is
what are
what
they
I think
hiding?
is interesting, is that we need to vote for Chris Gleason, Pinellas County Supervisor of Election. That's what I think about it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if people vote for me on August 20th, it's going to be wide open and transparent. And I'm all about transparency. I am all about transparency. I was, like I said, I was drafted to do this. I really didn't want to do it, but I know that if not me, then who? And there really was nobody more qualified here in Pinellas County. I mean, we exposed the fact that they have modems attached to these tabulators, and the modems are attached to the internet. And Julie Marcus lied about it. Julie Marcus lied about that multiple times in presentations she's given to Pinellas County voters.
And forgive me, because of our time constraints, I'm going to have to get to some points. Wait a minute, Chris. You're a Republican and you're running against a Republican in the primary. So that election date is August 20th. So you've got to get on the ball and get your message out. Why are you running against another Republican?
I'm running against another Republican because this Republican is a Republican in name only. And this Republican rigged the election against Donald Trump in the 2020 election and then concealed the evidence of her fraud. That's
I
why.
want to tell you, thank you. Principle over party, principle over party. You are trying to bring back accountability and transparency in our elections. I want to make sure that we give all the voters as much information. Public Service announced that they need to get registered by Monday, July 22nd to vote in an election. And then we're going to get some information from your website that explains your candidacy with your website. Let me see if I've got that here. Can you see that? That's Chris Gleason for Pinellas County Supervisor of Election. There's an email address and your website. Would you call out the name of your website?
Sure. That's gleasonforpinellas.com. That's Gleason, FOR, Pinellas.com.
Good information, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
So we want to thank everybody for joining us today. Chris Gleason from Pinellas County was our leadoff of our 11 Patriot Florida candidates for Supervisor of Election. We will be having more of those candidates appear in the near future. We want to thank you and joining us. I'm your host, Mike Cartwright, here with Save America from Illegal Elections. Thank again our host Sabrina Watson and 286 Sunshine. Again, our special guest, Mr. Chris Gleason from Pinellas County. And thank you. And we look forward to you joining us again soon. God bless America.
God bless America. Amen.
Amen to that. Bye-bye.